Today we're going to be cleaning my 1858 Remington replica 44 black powder pistol. The last video I showed, I went out and shot it a few times, and I'm planning on doing that again, probably 2 or 3 more times before season comes in. But I didn't do a really thorough cleaning on this because I'm planning on going back shooting it, the next day or so. And maybe I'll make another video on breaking it all the way down. I don't really see a sense in that. There's tons of videos already showing that, but I just wanted to show you the basic cleanup of the black powder handgun. I'd mentioned in the prior video, about y'all looking over the handgun hunting. So I just want to show some, some of the basic steps in cleaning and what to expect if you do get into using the revolver type handguns with black powder. So hope you enjoy the video. So the first thing we're going to do is break it down. We're going to remove our loading lever here, or either drop it down for now. And then we're going to pull the pin out of the cylinder. I can tell it's gummed up. Pull this thing back to half cock. Pull out the cylinder. Still had one of the old caps on it. Okay, I like to break it down pretty good. I mean, not all the way down, but you got a little tool here that's got all the tools on it that you'll need to do that. I'm sure it'll come with your pistol when you buy one. But anyway, I'm going to take the loading lever out. That allows this to slide out. And you can see it's all gummed up. I mean, really stuff all over it. That's only shooting it about, I think I shot a total of 9 shots. You can look on the hammer here how nasty this is. But it's dirty, and we're going to clean it up. Alright, so I'll break it down to that point. I can clean the rest of this just by hand. I'll use a little soap and water on it. We can pull that rod all the way out. You can see it's lubed up good. I always lube up all my muzzle loaders, and I use this bore butter. I never had an issue with it, and I've been shooting muzzle loading rifles and black powder in general for, I don't know, 25, 30 years. But I use that and it works good. But anyway, lube everything up really good after you get it clean. So we can start with that, and now we're going to start breaking down. We got nipples on each cylinder here that you load your number 10 caps on in this case. But we're going to take each one of those nipples out. Alrighty. Just in case you wanted to see, it's just a regular screw-in nipples. You can replace these if you need to. I'm going to try to make this video as efficient as you can. I hate watching videos that seem like they drag everything out, so I'm going to make it as efficient as possible. Cut down the time on it, so you don't have to sit and watch 30 minutes of video, somebody explaining about certain guns or certain issues with it. So I'll be doing the talking as I'm tearing this apart and putting it back together. And that way we're not sitting here explaining everything. Anyway, there's 6 nipples. Any of you that don't know, I mean, you go buy these packs of cleaning cloths. I mean, there's nothing to it. I like using the cotton cloths, but I always take an old t-shirt, just cut it up with some scissors, make your own cloth. No sense in buying that. I mean, these t-shirt material works perfect too for cleaning cloths. I like using it as warm as possible so you don't burn your hands. But anyway, we're going to start off with some water, and we're going to take our parts, put them down in there. So So first we got our cylinder. I just used Dawn soap. I've been using this method, like I said, the whole time I've been using black powder, but you got all your nipples. Got your loading lever. You see how gummed up it is. And your pin for your cylinder. Alright, so I find that this warm water breaks down the oils and really gets that stuff clean really quick. Just took me a cleaning patch and put some of the Dawn on it. Take the nipples and clean them off best I can. Just with a rag to start with. A lot of parts to clean, and if you don't get it all clean, they start corroding up, and then for too many years, or probably if you don't clean it good, even the first year, you'll end up messing up your black powder gun and having to buy another one because you failed to clean everything properly. So I'm just cleaning out where the nipples go right here, just around that. I'll get inside there and clean the threads and the cylinders out next. Alright, now I'll come back and using this brass part, the brush, and just clean off the parts that's got the heaviest residue. This is where all your powder and stuff gets caked up on there. So clean that off. Now we're going to get over to our nipples. You can get nipple cleaning tools. The little small pipe cleaners work great, but I like to use a toothpick, and that toothpick you can see comes out of the end of that nipple. So I'm just getting all the way through there, cleaning out the holes that your fire comes through off of the cap. And these caps is very small, so those holes have to be perfectly clean. You have to be really careful when you put it back together too, to make sure you don't have any lube in that, because you will have a misfire. But anyway, I go through each one of them, clean them back up. Also, now my gun's not really dirty right now, but I like to clean the threads off just to make sure that they're good and clean. The end of the nipple there. And also, I'll break the same toothpick here. Break the tip off of that toothpick and use the flat end of it. And leave it kind of messed up on the ends and stuff. You know, it works like a little small brush. But you can stick it down in this end of it. It works good and snug to clean that out. Clean the little hole out, then we're going to clean the big hole. And go back and make sure that little hole's clean again. There we go. Now that I've got all that washed up, and rinse it off. A lot of crud coming out of that. I'll run some hot water through the barrel. Cleaning cloth here. I try not to get water down into the mechanism. I mean, if you do, you need to pull the handles off and get everything dried out and let it set out and blow it out, whatever you want to do, but get it all dry in there. But try not to let water just get up in that. I hadn't shot the gun a lot, so. Alright, I'm going to take this soapy rag one time and run it through the barrel. You can see it come out pretty clean, so that's good enough. Alright, now I got hot water. I'm just going to rinse all this stuff off here. The hot water heats up the metal. Which allows it to dry, you know, from being warm. So let that hot water run over your metal parts. Notice I've kept my handgun up this way most of the time. That way water don't run back into the action of it. I'm going to run a dry, clean patch back through the barrel. Paying attention to how clean that rag is when it comes out that end. There's just barely any color on that, so I know that that barrel's clean. I'll run it back through the other side. Alright, we've got a perfectly clean cloth, so the barrel's clean. Alright, so what I've done is I heated me up a pan of hot water. I mean, it didn't go all the way to a boil, but I'm going to drop my parts down into it. This is after I've got everything clean. See what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and put this strainer back in here in case I drop a screw. But I stick all my parts down in the hot water, let them get really hot. And the reason for that is when I take them back out of here, they're going to be so hot that any moisture that I may have not wiped off of it or inside any of the small crevices, it'll evaporate quickly because the pieces are really hot. So let them set in there for a minute and let them get up to temperature. And then we're going to dump this water out. I'm going to dump these parts out on my rag over here. Alright, I got my hot parts out over here, and they're basically dry now. I may blow the water out of the small cracks and stuff in here. Blow all my nipples out. Alright, now I'm going to take another cleaning cloth and get into these, and that thing's still hot. Too hot to hold. But I'm going to go into each one of these nipple holes and clean that out. I'm going to stick this down each cylinder. Give them a wipe. Just ensure there's no moisture in there. Alright. While that thing's cooling off, we're going to go ahead and put some boar butter. This says fresh pine scent. I've got two different flavors, if you want to call it that, but the other one is wintergreen. I used to think that, you know, with all that scent, that deer would smell it, but I never had an issue with the wintergreen smell. But they have a fresh pine scent, so I figured, you know, got to be a little better than the wintergreen. I've never smelled wintergreen in the woods. So I got me a rag here saturated with the boar butter. I'm going to wipe down every part really good. Just give it a coat just like you would oil. the next step, I'm going to show you how to lube these nipples so that you can ensure that you don't stop them up. After anything prior to putting these back in, always make sure you can visually look through them, or you can blow through them, but make sure there's nothing in there, because that's a little hole, and the fire that comes off of those caps are very small fire, so it's not very much at all, smaller than a cap gun, but I can visually see through each one of these holes. Just blow them out just to make sure. Okay, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and lube. I'm going to go ahead and lube the threads on these nipples. When you're doing this, make sure you don't get in that little bitty hole, either end of it. So we're going to put some lube on the threads without getting in that hole. All right, and I'll go back through and make sure I'm clean. Blow them back out. Look through them. All right, so those are clean. All right, we'll put this little lube onto my ramrod screw. Now we're to our frame. I'm going to do the same thing with the frame here. I'm going to lube it down really good with the rag. Basically just putting a coat of oil. In this case, it's not oil. It's I'm not exactly sure what boar butter is made out of, but they used to use things like pig fat or bear fat or whatever fat you had. So I'm going to wipe down every part of this gun or the frame with this lube. I pay particular close attention to the places that gets really a lot of residue, like on this hammer. You know, I'll probably just take a little bit of this here and, you know, put a really good coat on it everywhere, because it does get a lot of corrosion in those areas. You know, even inside here. Especially up this end, because this is where all your explosion is coming out. You've got a little crack in between the cylinder and the barrel, and if you pay attention on the videos, you'll actually see 3 clouds of smoke. You'll see the one that comes out the barrel, and you'll see 2 more coming off the side. That's coming off the sides of the gap that's between the cylinder and the barrel. But anyway, there's a lot of stuff comes out of there, so I'll put a good coat of this stuff around that. You know, we don't want corrosion. That's the purpose of lubrication. So we've got a good coat in there. By the time you get through, you got it all over your hands, so you can just basically wipe everything. Then whenever you get through wiping everything, you can come back and clean up your handle. A lot of people, you know, these guns come from the factory, and the wood on them here is always dull. They say the reason for that is because of the lube and stuff on here, that this is slick in your hands, and it is. And that's the reason they don't polish these pieces. And I polished this one. I mean, it's just a hunting gun, and you know, when I'm hunting, my hands are not lubed anyway. So, but anyway, I like the look of the gloss on the handles. But anyway, clean all that off really good. Make sure you clean the part that you put your thumb on to pull the hammer back. Get all the lube off of those areas, because you don't want nothing slipping, your fingers slipping anything. All right, so that's all lubed up, and now we need to lube the cylinder. And again, I'm just going to take my cleaning rod. Okay, the cylinder's cooled off enough. It's still pretty warm, but it's cooled off enough. So I'm going to stick this down in each one of these cylinders and give it a spin. I'll put a light coat of, really light coat of lube in there, because these are the cylinders that we're going to be packing powder into. Actually, what I'll do is go through these cylinders like this and clean them and lube them, and then I'll run a dry patch back through there and get that lube out just to make sure that my powder don't get anything on it. And I don't want to make it sound discouraging to y'all to try these guns out, man, but they're really fun guns. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put a little extra lube on the back of the cylinder. This is where my pin catches and do with the timing and the spinning of the chambers here. So we've got metal to metal contact on these little gear looking pieces. We want to get all that lube off. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and run another patch now back through each one of these cylinders, just to ensure we don't have a bunch of caked up lube in anything before we put our powder in. 4, 5, 6. Make sure I hit them all. All right, so this thing's ready. We're ready to put it back together. All right, we've already got our nipples clean, so I'm just going to stick this back in here. A little small tug, not torquing it down hard at all. Just like your breech plug on your rifles. It is basically what this is. So then whenever you put it back into your rifle, you know you want to lube up your threads really good, and when you tighten it up, it don't have to be really tight. I mean, just give it a snug. It'll ensure that you can break that back loose after you get it gummed up from shooting. So we got all our things back in there. Be sure to stick this piece back in first. Be sure to stick your cylinder pin back in first. All right, we got all this back together. I got my pistol pulled back to half cock. I'm gonna drop the cylinder in. May have to work it down, pull the hammer back down on it a little bit. We're gonna lock the cylinder rod. We're gonna wipe all this lube off of my handles. My hands are slick and the pistol's slick. Wipe it out of the trigger area, anywhere you're handling your gun. And that was it. So, well, thank y'all for joining again, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button, like and share, and I appreciate all you do for me. We'll be posting some more videos soon. Going to run some more cameras. I know I haven't given y'all any pictures yet. I don't see a point in making a video on a bunch of small deer. So when I run across some good shooters, we'll make a video of it. And see you then. So God bless. Take care. See you next time.